Today, Donald and I are heading west across the Canterbury Plains towards the foothills and the small town of Oxford. It's a quiet drive now, but this road once carried the products of a much rougher industry. Oxford grew beside one of Canterbury's major stands of native timber. In the early days, trees were felled, milled and hauled out by horse and bullock, hard, slow work on roads that were little more than tracks. The settlement that grew around the labour would eventually become a town of mills, stores, workshops, hotels and homes. So as the road gathers speed beneath us, we're heading for a place whose peaceful appearance hides a hard-working past. The name Oxford first applied to two neighbouring settlements rather than one, East Oxford and West Oxford, developed separately, each with its own railway station and a slightly different centre of activity. Over time, the space between them filled in and the two became the town we see today. That helps explain why Oxford feels stretched out rather than tightly packed around a single centre. The road runs through a long ribbon of homes, gardens and small businesses, with the foothills always close enough to remind you where the town came from. Timber was the first great engine of the local economy. Canterbury's early settlements needed wood for houses, farm buildings, fences, bridges and fuel, and the Oxford forests supplied it. Sawmills appeared around the district and workers arrived with their families. But the timber trade had a major problem, getting heavy loads out to the growing markets around Christchurch. Wagons moved slowly, roads became mud in winter, and every mile added time and cost. Oxford needed a better connection to the rest of Canterbury. That connection came by rail. The branch from Rangiora reached Oxford in 1875, linking the town's timber and farm produce with the main railway network. It also brought mail, supplies, visitors and news. For a small rural settlement, the railway was way more than a way to move goods. It shortened the distance to Christchurch and made Oxford part of a much larger economy. The two local stations, East Oxford and West Oxford, served the town as it grew along the line. Ambitious. The line was extended to west to Sheffield, crossing the Rakahuri Gorge on a combined road and rail bridge. For a time, Oxford sat between the main north line at Rangiora and the railway through Sheffield. It was part of a grander idea for an inland Canterbury route, an idea that was never fully completed. What remained was useful but modest: mixed trains, local freight, passengers, picnic excursions, and a vital link for communities that otherwise felt a long way from everywhere. Then, as happened in so many small towns, the road began to win. Trucks could collect goods directly from farms and mills. Cars offered freedom that a timetable could not. The section from Oxford to Sheffield closed first, and the remaining branch to Rangiora survived until 1959. When the trains stopped, the tracks were removed, but the railway did not disappear completely. Its route still influences the shape of the town and the roads beyond it. Old station sites, loading banks, and unusually wide reserves preserve faint outlines of an industry that once set Oxford's daily rhythm. Oxford had to adapt, and it did. Farming became increasingly important. Local trades and services kept the town useful to the surrounding district. More recently, people have been drawn here by the very landscape that once made timber possible: the foothills, the rivers, the forests, and the routes into Lees Valley. The town now serves residents, visitors, walkers and travellers, while still carrying traces of its working beginnings. That mixture gives Oxford its character. It is not a preserved museum piece, it is a living town that has changed purpose without losing its connection to the land around it. Driving the quieter streets, Oxford feels spacious and settled. There are old homes, newer homes, broad verges, established gardens, and the occasional building that makes you wonder what it was used for a century ago. It also has the practical things that a road traveller notices: food, fuel, supplies, and plenty of places to stop. Donald applies a stricter test. He looks for somewhere to stretch his legs, something interesting to smell, and preferably enough water to ignore every instruction about staying dry. Oxford's mills have gone. Its railway is silent, and most of the original forest has disappeared. Yet this town still makes sense when you know that history. Its long shape, its place beside the foothills, and its connection with Rangiora grew from the need to move people, timber and produce. The past is not always marked by a plaque. Sometimes it is simply built into the road ahead. Before we leave the Oxford district, Donald has found his own interpretation of local history. Water, stones, and absolutely no interest in the temperature. For him, this is part of the story that matters most, and to be fair, he may have a point. Good on you, Donald. So down by the river, out of nowhere, just sitting here, kind of, this is what happens to all old caravans. It's just there, right by the Rakahuri river. Just sitting there, minding its own business. Big, good boy. Donald, Donald. Good boy. Donald, Donald. Hey, waiting. Donald. Get it, go on. Good boy. Beyond Oxford, the land tightens into Ashley Gorge. Here, the Ashley River, Rakahuri, passes through the foothills from Lees Valley before spreading east across the Canterbury plains. Down on the shingle, the scale changes. The river is broad, cold and unhurried, with steep forested slopes rising close beside it. In summer, this is a popular swimming and picnic place. On a grey winter day, it belongs mostly to the water, the birds, and one very determined dog. Places like this do not need much explanation. You can hear the river, watch the light move across the gorge, and remember that the landscape was shaping every journey here long before roads, bridges, or railway lines arrived. The short tracks lead away from the open riverbank and quickly into the trees. The sound changes, the light softens, and Donald resumes his official duties as head of trail inspection. While he checks every tree personally, a small favour from us. If you're enjoying these quieter places, please like the video, share it and subscribe. Donald has been told each new subscriber earns him a biscuit. Our legal department is still reviewing that arrangement. Back in the reserve, the open lawns and picnic tables make Ashley Gorge feel simple and welcoming. There are no grand visitor buildings and no carefully staged experience, just room to walk, sit, listen and stay a while. That simplicity is part of its appeal. Oxford tells a story of people reshaping their land for work and transport. Ashley Gorge reminds us that the river and the foothills remain the larger story. Even on a cold, damp day, it is an easy place to understand why people keep coming back. With our caravan Ray staying at base for some work, Donald and I will be exploring North Canterbury by day trip. Next we're heading east to Rangiora. We'll walk the town centre, look for traces of its early commercial and railway past, and find out how it grew into the main service town for the surrounding district. Oxford's old branch line once connected directly with Rangiora, so it's a natural next chapter in the story. Thanks for travelling with us. Until next time, this is Backroads New Zealand. Quiet roads, small towns, hidden history.